All right, so with that, we finished the channel upkeep. Had some fun table talk, and I wanted to delve now with you all. I hope you're ready. You have a beverage of your choice. You're in a comfy chair, and let's get into the new Unearthed Arcana. This coming on the heels of the Primal Soul Barbarian and the Astral Self Monk. We have the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer and a new patron for Warlocks, the Lurker in the Deep. We're not going to worry about this stuff. Tonight, we're going to be making 2 Sorcerers. Remember that Unearthed Arcana is playtest content. Your Dungeon Master, whether that's you or someone else, may very well say, no, I want to stick to published stuff. But let's give it a try. Let's find out. Is this overpowered, underpowered? Is this really weird, really niche, really cool? A combination of any of this stuff. Alright, so the Aberrant Mind. An alien influence has wrapped its tendrils around you, warping you in both body and mind. Perhaps a psychic splinter lodged in your psyche after you suffered domination by an aboleth. Maybe you were born somewhere tainted by the far realm. A planar blot that changed you forever. Or perhaps mind flayers kidnapped you, subjecting you to the nightmarish process of ceramorphosis. But the transformation failed and left you altered. Unique disturbance. Regardless of its genesis, the Aberrant Mind origin imparts a sense of eeriness to the character or their surroundings. This can be as subtle as when your sorcerer reads a creature's mind with detect thoughts. Anyone in their immediate vicinity experiences a faint but pervasive sense of dread. Or it could be unmistakable, such as sweating a sheen of viscous mucus when you're scared, or your pupils squirming when you're excited. Consider the potentially unspeakable source of your sorcerer's power, and use that as a guide to weave threads of eeriness throughout your magic. From that unique disturbance, that is reminding me of the Shadow Sorcerer. Now, we have the core books. Comparing splat to splat can be dangerous, as with 5th edition, the key is everything should link back to the player's handbook and be compared player's handbook to that, not an extra source to an extra source, because that's some unstable scaffolding that leads to some tremendous power creep and a bloat of rules and power levels that we've seen in other printed RPGs, including past editions of D&D. But without talking about mechanics, just the presentation, we have the shadow magic. You know, so you have these quirks that you get. You're always icy to the touch. You blinked once last week. Your heart beats once per minute. This event sometimes surprises you. So you get kind of a creepy, kooky, spooky Addams Family. Or being a floating severed hand. Oh, is it for the Addams Family restaurant? Oh, a severed hand sorcerer you're talking about, Tesla. What do you mean by a severed hand sorcerer, then? Invasive thoughts. At first level, you gain the ability to use a bonus action to magically create a telepathic link with one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. Until the link ends, you can telepathically speak to the target through the link, and if it understands at least one language, it can speak telepathically to you. The link lasts for 10 minutes, and it ends early if you're incapacitated or die, or if you use another bonus action to break the link or to establish this link with a different creature. Hey Grimvex, welcome. So this would be first level. Theoretically, you could speak to animals as well as humanoids or anything that not plants or not something that's dead or a rock. It just the condition here is that if it doesn't have a language, like, well, what does the fox say? We don't know. There's literally no evidence of foxes ever making sounds. And so if you were to speak to a fox, it can't answer, but the telepathy, such as telepathy is presented in D&D, is it's a universal understanding as you're speaking through emotions and imagery and such. Psionic spells. Starting at first level, your aberrant nature changes your mind in subtle but profound ways. You learn additional spells when you reach certain levels in this class, as shown on the psionic spells table. The spell counts as a sorcerer spell for you, but it doesn't count against the number of sorcerer spells you know. These spells can't be replaced when you gain a level in this class. So these are fixed in your noggin, or in your humors, by the possession or lingering effects of whatever entity left a blot upon you. And so these are psionic spells that you pick up: Arms of Hadar, Dissonant Whispers, Calm Emotions, Detect Thoughts. By the way, are you getting a very warlock vibe from this? Yeah. Getting kind of a deep one vibe from this? Yeah. Yeah, finally domain. What do you mean finally for domain spells for sorcerer? I didn't know there was an expectation for those in Cyclochameleon. But yes, this would be a domain, or with druids in their land, or paladins in their oath. But you are all about the ooh, keep a theremin close by. So when you're casting your spells, you go woo, woo, woo. And so Jedi, hopefully then we can answer questions for you. And I will say, if you haven't also joined Trustaflump and the others over on the D&D Time Discord, do so there as well. It's a very welcoming community also, and it's good to have different resources open to you. Sorcerers are the most inherent magic casters. They should have spells that all of them get. I would argue that they're inherent because it's a part. It's like their mutant powers, but I don't know if there's consistency. I mean, look at the X-Men. They don't have similar powers because their bodies mutated in different fashions, or a lot of superheroes just there might be some overlap, but I don't know if there's enough consistency. Like why now in a world where sorcerers are born with fireballs, you might say that in your campaign, due to there's a comet overhead that has been in synchronous orbit for the last 20 years, and so the generation born under the eerie red light of this fireball in the sky, they're born as sorcerers, and you say every sorcerer gets fireball. Pardon. But with all the different types of sorcerers, and whether it's wild magic or draconic magic to stick to the player's handbook and such, I don't. Yeah, Sozin's Comet. Yes, Sozin's Comet. I don't know if there's enough consistency between sorcerers, because they get different meta magic and the like. Now, we are also a warped being. Starting at first level, your aberrant origin protects you from harm. Your body might have a coating of viscous slime, tough hide, scales, or an invisible psionic barrier. Choose the form of protection when you gain this feature. Whatever form the protection takes, your AC equals 13 plus Dex mod while you aren't wearing armor. So these are the dragon scales from the Dragon Blood Sorcerer. Although, immediately I'm being reminded of the Simic hybrid race in the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. Roll tip, good reminder, AC calculations don't stack. So you choose one source of armor class, and that's the one you're getting. You can always choose down if you want, or you could choose up as long as you're meeting the qualifications. At level 6, Psionic Sorcery. Beginning at 6th level, when you cast any of the spells gained from your Psionic spell feature, you can cast it by expending a spell slot as normal, or by spending a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level. If you cast the spell using sorcery points, it requires no components. Psychic Defenses. 6th level Aberrant Mind feature. At 6th level, you gain resistance to psychic damage, and you have advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. Again, another kind of parallel to the Dragon Blood Sorcerer. When you have the ability to spend a key point, sorcery point, in order to get resistance to a damage of the type that you are representing. Level 14, Revelation in Flesh. Beginning at 14th level, you can unleash the aberrant truth hidden within your flesh. As a bonus action, you can spend 1 or more sorcery points to magically transform your body for 1 minute. For each sorcery point you spend, you can gain one of the following benefits of your choice, the effects of which last until the transformation ends. You gain a swimming speed equal to your walking speed and the ability to breathe water. Gills grow from your neck or fan out from behind your ears. Your fingers become webbed, or you grow lashing cilia that extend through your clothing. You gain a flying speed equal to your walking speed and can hover. As you fly, your skin glistens with mucus. Your body, along with any equipment you are wearing or carrying, becomes slimy and pliable. You can move through any space as narrow as 1 inch without squeezing, and you can spend 5 feet of movement to escape from non-magical restraints or being grappled. Your eyes turn black or become writhing sensory tendrils. You are aware of the location of any hidden or invisible creature within 60 feet of you. So this is kind of like a a meta body feature, not just a meta magic. And lastly, level 18. As an epic level sorcerer, we can warp reality. At 18th level, you become the focal point of a reality warping anomaly. As an action, you can magically radiate a transparent 20-foot radius aura for 1 minute. This might take the form of a sphere of rippling psychic energy, a fluctuating amoebic gel, an extrusion of ephemeral parasites, or some other manifestation. Other creatures treat the aura as difficult terrain, and when they start their turn in it, they take 2d10 psychic damage. I think Circle of Spores druids do something similar to this. Other creatures treat the aura as difficult terrain. Okay, and when they start their turn, they take 2d10 psychic damage. When you activate this feature, you can choose any number of creatures you can see to be unaffected by the aura. As a bonus action, you can end the aura early. If you do so, you and any number of creatures you choose within the aura are teleported to a location you can see within 1 mile of you. Each creature must appear within 20 feet of you and in an unoccupied space. An unwilling creature that succeeds on a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC is not teleported. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. I like how the sorcerer can be. I'm very goopy. Aberrant is just trying to make people good with slime player race. Yeah, I kind of a background thing. I've been working on an ooze race, and these are things that anyway. I'll revel in flesh at once. What am I? I don't know, Encyclo. So, burst damage, a short-range teleportation. You can adapt your body in some different, interesting ways. It's very goopy, as Encyclo Chameleon was talking about here. And so, of course, we're getting this inkling of psionics. as psionics haven't really been introduced. You know, in 4th edition, you know, monks fell under a psionic class because the key energy was considered to be intrinsic magic to them in that case. This is what happens when a gelatinous cube thief... When a gelatinous cube thief to absorb you, and you play the Uno reverse... Oh, tries to absorb you, and you play the Uno reverse card. Suddenly, you eat the gelatinous cube in return. Yeah, so it's very, very thematic, a lot of flair. It touches on some other elements of sorcerers, which is fine. I'm not opposed to that. Hypnotic Gamer, hello, good evening to you. So let's build a sorcerer. In fact, we're going to be building an 18th level sorcerer here, as their capstone ability Warp Reality is at 18. So unless we have to go up, no, the Warlock's capstone is 14. So we're going to be making 18th level sorcerer and Warlock characters for this week. Oh, you have a cold? Yeah, well, you know... folks are saying it's kind of an early flu season, so beware. You know, get your flu shot, especially if you're hanging out around babies or the elderly. Yeah, if they work right, why reinvent it? Yeah, I don't want to sound like, oh, well, only one type of sorcerer can manifest dragon scales. Because you could take the dragon sorcerer and say it's another type of creature, and so instead of dragon scales, it's something else. It's a long distance. No, it spreads through telecommunications. Ah! Now, for the construction of our character, as you can see, we have a handy dandy character generator, and if Trust a Flump is still out there. I give a tenderly salute. And by the way, who is to say that the source of your sorceress powers being an aberrant mind wouldn't in fact be a flump? What if a flump has flumpicized you and has granted you these magics? Because you can talk emotionally to other creatures, right? You have tenderly things. Your eyeballs seem to go out on stalks and can see invisible creatures. I dare say, as much as we want to be like, yeah, aboleths and krakens and all this other stuff, I think we have a flump-based subclass for sorcerers. See, Refry, you just flumped your pants. I mean, look, tell me, as we're making this character, 5 flumps in an overcoat. As we're making this, what's one of the things that we can do with our body? You gain a flying speed and you hover. Now, as you fly, it says that your skin glistens with mucus. Sure, you could do that. Or what if, as you fly or hover, you make flump sounds instead? Because you certainly, with the prompt of use your imagination that this playtest involves, there's nothing saying that your flying doesn't come from you flumping. Right? You change your body into kind of a disc with tendrils, and you can slide underneath a door. Your eyes turn black or become writhing sensory tendrils, much like a flump size. Yeah. You see what I'm doing here, huh? So we have a flump, a flumpferer, I guess. What would be a flump-based sorcerer? Meow, yeah, you're joining in the fun, huh? All right, so meow. I know, totally, right? Totally. As much as it would be fun to pull into Xanathars and such, this was for discussing, you know, if we wanted to bring up Storm Sorcerers, Shadow Sorcerers, and the like, you know, we could take a look at what other Splat has done. But we're going to be building Player's Handbook. We're going to be building Player's Handbook race, you know, primary sorcerer class and background. And the only thing that we're going to make different is going to be the Unearthed Arcana. That way we have a solid test. Off the keyboard, please. That way we have a solid test for the... My goodness. Yes, thank you. Here, can I put you on the back? Here, let's do this. There you go. There, you're beautiful. All right. Oh, you're for real going to sleep now? All right, have a good night, Trustaflumph. I hope that you can recover. Sounds like you're sick too. So it's going around, everyone. Wear your masks, wash your hands. You know, as Hulk Hogan would say, you know, take your vitamins and say your prayers, and hopefully y'all don't get sick out there. So we're going to go back to the basics here. And on our character sheet, as you can see, dun, 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 we have the Player's Handbook checked of all of the other race sources that are out there. The Matty Morgs supplement is just it's my extra step. If someone's a half-orc, do you favor, you know, one side or the other? It's not a new race or anything. It's just another consideration for the race. So let's start rolling, huh? Let's find out from the infinite possibilities that exist. What kind of an aberrant sorcerer are we going to have? You know, we're going to answer questions. How did he or she become an aberrant mind sorcerer? What happened? How does he or she make decisions and their general disposition? And all through the magic of a blank character sheet and a dice roller. If none of you have seen this process before, I hope that is refreshing for you and that you stick around through it. And if you have questions, certainly do so. All right, so first thing I'm going to roll is a percentile to find out do we have a female character, a male character, or a multi-class character. And if we get multi-class, we'll roll again for female or male. 57, so we have a male character. And as for the race, there are 9 races in the Player's Handbook. I'm going to roll a D9. Let's manufacture it down here. Hit roll. We got a 3. An elf. All right. Now, do we have a drow, a high elf, or a wood elf? Roll a D3. 3. We have a wood elf. A male wood elf. And what is the alignment of this character? Now, we're not building for something thematic like, you know, predominantly good, predominantly evil. I'm going to use the balanced odds block that we have here. So a percentile. We rolled an 18. We have a neutral good male wood elf. So far, right, we're creating a couple reference points for a character. Maybe we have a general silhouette, you know, against the astral sea of possibility. Now, we already know the level at which we're going to be generating the character, level 18, so we can incorporate that that capstone ability for the subclass. So we're not rolling that. That's fixed. Now, what we can decide as well, as we're going to be setting, you know, some random perimeters. Are we going to take ability score improvements, ASIs, or in other words, stat bumps, or are we going to replace one or more of those with feats? I'm going to roll a percentile set, and we're going to answer that because this character is going to be getting 4 of these stat bumps at level 4, 8, 12, and 16. Oh, if only we had one more level. If only we had level 19, we could get that 5th one in there. But what can you do, right? My hands are tied. Percentile? 91. All 4. We're going to replace all 4 stat bumps with feats found in Chapter 6. Because in the character creation, I, as the Dungeon Master, am allowing for feats, as they are technically options in the player's handbook. So here we go. I mean, it's an aberration. It's an aberration sorcerer, so of course having 4 feet wouldn't really matter, right? Now, for our backgrounds in the player's handbook, there are 13 backgrounds, comma, however, comma. If you extrude out the possibilities, there are 18. For example, you could be a sailor, or there's a pirate variant, a noble or a knight variant, a guild artisan or a merchant variant, a gladiator instead of an entertainer, a spy instead of a criminal. I'm going to roll an 18-sided die, and we're going to figure out the background of our character. And I would like to stress, I like doing it this way. I want to explore things like prompt and then explore the background first. We may often describe our characters as, yes, I'm a neutral good female high elf paladin. What does that really tell you, though? Does that really speak to your skills, who your character is? And not that I'm against describing characters like that, because it does form a vague reference point for your character. But this is going to build our character. Backgrounds are amazing additions to 5th edition, and I love exploring backgrounds. Anyway, 18-sided die. Let's get to it. Roll it. I hit roll, and it didn't work. All right, let's try it again. There we go. 16. Ah, well, speaking of pirates, we have a pirate. All right, so now we've started to generate some information here. So we have a male wood elf. They're medium-sized. I'll fill it in while I'm up here. Alignment, neutral, good. Background is a pirate. And we are making a sorcerer aberrant mind at level 18. Okay. Now, while I'm here, let's fill in our 2 personality traits, our ideal, bond, and flaw. I need 2d8, 5 and 4. These are placeholders. I don't know what these mean yet, and it doesn't matter. We want random number generation. RNG is our friend here on this channel. 6, 2, and 4. 6, 2, and 4 for the ideal, the bond, and the flaw. Now, for the class and subclass, hey, that's nice and easy. We're making sorcerers. And our subclass is going to be out of the Unearthed Arcana, which is the Aberrant Mind. A subclass is specifically what kind of a wizard, what kind of a barbarian, what kind of a something. Just like you could say, well, I'm playing an elf. Well, what kind of elf? An Eladrin, a drow, a sea elf, a high elf, a wood elf, a Shatterkai. Hey, Donnie, welcome. Now, for any of you who don't know where to find this information, by the by, a neutral good pirate, they're a reverse pirate, attacking pirating vessels and returning their cargo to proper owners. One day, attacking a vessel, they found something in the cargo that changed them forever. That is about the same lines that I was thinking, Encyclochameleon. There's a good many paladins. I forget all of them offhand, though, Jedi. Though if someone out there knows all of the different oaths that are available, in just the player's handbook, there are 3 oaths. There's the Oath of the Ancients, Oath of Vengeance, and Oath of Loyalty. So unfortunately, I don't get to press this big golden D12 button, which is fine though. Now, for the height and the weight and even the age of the character, I'm going to load in that we are playing a wood elf, And as you'll see, hey, yeah, some things changed around here. An oath of loyalty is pretty much your knight in shining armor. Now I'm going to roll a percentile set to find out how old our character is. This is random character generation, and this is important. If none of you have challenged yourself to play someone who is much older than you, or even much younger, you know, are you playing a child prodigy? You know, you grew up and your character was extremely gifted and manifested sorcerer's powers at a young age. Or maybe you're playing a seasoned citizen for your race. You know, someone who this could very well be his or her last adventure. You can have the exact same, you know, sorcerer or paladin or what have you, and the character can be vastly different by simply changing the age of the character. Anyway, let's find out how old this character is. Percentile set. I rolled an 80. So an 80, we have a middle-aged elf. Middle-aged elves, and this is a chronological age. This is not, you know, what elves consider in a cultural sense to be middle-aged. Our middle-aged wood elf is going to be 281 plus 1d 190 years. So I'm going to manufacture a 190-sided die, and then we are going to add 281 to that, and we're going to get the result. All right, so our total, he is 352 years old. He's been sailing on the seas for a minute. So we come up here. And we were 352. Now, wood elves have a base height of 4 feet, 6 inches. We are going to add 2d10 inches to his height. I rolled an 8. So we are 4 feet, 14 inches tall. And by that, I mean that we are 5'2". Now, we're going to take that same number, that 8, and we are going to multiply it by 1d4, which is the weight modifier, and then add that to the base weight of the character. 2. So we are adding 16 pounds, so he is 116 pounds. Encyclo, thank you for answering those questions for Jedi Master. I appreciate that. All right, Donnie. Yeah, lurk while you're listening to us do this. And happy hunting to you, Donnie. Excellent. So we have our placeholders. We are, in the words of Shantae, we are ret to go. Now from here, we're going to open up our player's handbooks. Class, did you bring your player's handbook? I hope you did. You got to crack it open to chapter 4, which talks about backgrounds. And we're going to flash forward. So caution, there's flashing on the screen. We're going to flash forward to Sailor. As pirates are like sailors, it's just that they're a pirate. And we're also going to get a choice. Being a pirate, not that a sailor can't have a bad reputation, but this is one of the backgrounds that offers. Would we have more of a ship's passage where we can get a ride on a ship that we know anytime? I mean, not anytime. It's not on demand, but you know, they know us and we know them. Or does this person have a bad reputation? And that's something we can decide as we continue to flesh out the personality of the character. I didn't bring anything. I'm a rebel. And you're laying down in bed in class. You went through all that effort to be maximum lazy. Pardon. A sun elf is another name, is a name in Forgotten Realms for the high elf. So mechanically, if you're playing a sun elf in the Forgotten Realms, or is that Greyhawk? Anyway, it's another name for the high elf set of mechanics that you find in the player's handbook. You know, when we get to that point in just a bit, Encyclo, I will challenge you on that in a friendly fashion. All right, so as a sailor, we are a pirate. We get skill proficiencies in athletics and perception. We also get tool proficiencies with navigator's tools and water vehicles. We get some starting equipment, a belaying pin, which is effectively a club. It just, you know, has a lot of memories that we've made, and we've denied others with that club. We'll call it the special club. Let's see. Belaying pin, 50 feet of silk rope. Oh my. We have the extra sturdy, extra light stuff, so we're not carrying around all that heavy hemp, especially when it gets wet. Oh my goodness. Next up, a lucky charm. Oh yes. Lucky charm is going to be trinket number something, and we'll roll to find out what this person carries on him that he considers to be a lucky charm. Trinkets are quasi-magical items. There's no real stat, bumps or like heavy mechanical effects, but they're definitely weird enough to not be a normal whatever it is that they are. And they can really help tell a story. Anyway, so lucky charm, we have a trinket. Let's see, a set of common clothies and a belt pouch containing 10 gapuz. There we go. Oh, hey, Lupus. Welcome. Good to see you. Oh, Sheeps, you went through the effort of getting out of bed, dragging the bed to class, and put it down to lay in it again. That's asserting dominance right there. So just lay in a T-pose, I guess, on your bed. Yeah, like semi-magical, or just a little weird. They're not even necessarily a common magic item, and if we're ranking power tiers, but they're not mundane. So I guess we create their category by kind of through exclusion. They exist in that little bit, of narrowness between the two, instead of the overlap in the Venn diagram. Oh, you got some Theraflu? Oh yeah, sip on that. I hope that helps. Yeah, yep, it's a brew. Exactly. Yep, make sure you're taking vitamins, plenty of liquids to keep things moving and flush out the crud. Now, the background feature is either ship's passage or the bad reputation, but you know what? I don't think we know just enough yet about the character to figure out which one would really, really make him sizzle. Whoop. So instead, let's find out more about our character. Let's give our character some character. What are his personality traits? Well, we rolled for 2 of them. The first personality trait that you can see down here in the corner. That's me in the corner. Is number 5. To me, a tavern brawl is a nice way to get to know a new city. So we have someone who's willing to be a little rough and rowdy. 13th star. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome aboard. I hope you're enjoying the character creation. So to me, a tavern brawl is a nice way to get to know a new city. And number 4, I stretch the truth for the sake of a good story. There we go. I put the earworm out there, and Custos Lupus completed. I saw a meme image that was something similar to that earlier, and it was a post where someone said, if I walk into a room and say, "I'm sorry, Miss Jackson," and I don't hear either "ooh" or "I am for real," then I lose respect in the people in that room. It was said a little bit more humorously and elegantly, but I think you get the idea. So the next time you burst into a room there, and you can just say, and say something like, "I'm sorry, Miss Jackson," or, "That's me in the corner," you can evaluate your company by who responds with the accompanying lyrics. Hey, Ars Fantastica, great to see you. I love looking through other game systems for their character creation backgrounds, flaws, ideals. Oh, yeah, you can, I used the Mouse Guard RPG for some 4th edition character creation, because there were some fantastic ideas in the Mouse Guard character creation. You are absolutely correct, Ars Fantastica. Or maybe they look for tavern brawls, not to participate, but to see how people react, judging the town. That's a good idea, Encyclo. Yeah, Mouse Guard. So if you've already seen the Burning Wheel RPG system, the mechanics are the Burning Wheel mechanics. However, Mouse Guard is Burning Wheel flavored for Mouse Guard. So O'Sheep says, I bust into a room and shout, "Back streets, back!" And if I don't get an all right in unison, I'm disappointed. So for all of you out there, O'Sheeps, yeah, ours beat me to it. I want all of you out there. I'm going to count to 3. I know we're on a delay, but when I count to 3, I want everyone to give O'Sheeps. Oh, Hypnotics beat me to it. All you are better than me. 1, 2, 3. All right. Da, 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 da. All right. Please tell me what a second class is. You may have a dungeon master that lets you multi-class Jedi. And so, thank you for participating in that, by the way, Jedi. But if your dungeon master allows for multi-classing, it means that you take a second class and a subclass. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There you go, Custos. My next Halloween D&D night is going to have the players investigate the Backstreet's Back haunted house. Oh, haha. Alright, so to me, a tavern brawl is a nice way to get to know a new city, and I stretch the truth for the sake of a good story. So, we're not necessarily deceptive for the purposes of, manipulating people's pocketbooks or emotions, but we want to make sure we put a really good spin on it. And so with a sorcerer like this, especially one that can get all kind of oozy, like Ivan Ooze out of the Power Rangers, out of the first Power Rangers movie, at least that we got here in the West. You get that almost, unfortunately with the skeleton and not with Davy Jones in the Disney live action movies. But you get that not Balboa. Oh my gosh, why am I dropping on his name? Barbados? No. What was the first mate's name to Jack Sparrow? That is the foil like the rival. Barbossa. Thank you. Yeah. So instead of the Barbossa skeleton, like you best be believing in ghost stories, 'cause you're in one. You end up getting that, but with kind of a quaint Dutch accent from a squid person. Daly, O'Sheeps, please recognize that Daly, while late, still tried. They shot that sort of recent Power Rangers movie in my hometown. Oh, okay. There's the one that came out a couple years ago, like a reboot-ish movie. Saw the Cupid guy go on The Voice and get rejected singing his own song. Who's the Cupid guy? Or no, with oh no, I was thinking of The Mask. Instead, like, oh, so he dressed up like a Cupid, no one saw his face. So who's Cupid guy? The Cupid Shuffle? Am I not aware of this? Or am I aware of it, but I don't know it's called the Cupid Shuffle? Jedi's asking what there's a 7? I think there's 7 different subclasses for rogues Jedi. In the player's handbook, there is the Assassin, the Thief, and the Arcane Trickster, and they're all really fun. It was a one-hit wonder. You need to see the dance. Oh. So, like, we're not talking, like, slide to the left, slide to the right. Cha-cha. Everybody clap your hands. Okay, got it. All right. Gotcha. Maybe this is inspiration we're going to infuse in our character. What's his ideal? His ideal is number 6. Aspiration. Someday I'll own my own ship and I will chart my own destiny. The Cha-Cha came out at the exact same time. Hypnotic, you want to clap your hands then. I mean, if you have people sleeping in the house, then go like this. All right, next up is our bond. Here, I'm gonna reduce this down just a wee little bit, so that I can read and type on screen at the same time. I know it's crossing skills, but what can you do? All right, our bond is number 2. The ship is most important. Crewmates and captains come and go. So this person values the ship, and that does actually go very well with the ideal. A captain, the captain will pass, even for an elf, who are, in D&D terms, they're not immortal, but they're effectively, at least for us ephemerally aging species. And so here's someone who puts stock in the ship itself as this non-living being, or is it? And places importance there. Now, what is our character's flaw? We are all flawed creatures. Yes, even you. And if you think that you don't, then we found your flaw. Now, his flaw is number 4. Once I start drinking, it's hard for me to stop. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that he gets rowdy. He might. He might be a philosophical drunk. He might just drink and go to sleep. That's how he stops. Maybe the drinking is what has that kind of oozy effect start to take place. Some people, especially if you're of Asian heritage, it's an enzyme reaction. I think there's like an enzyme missing in the person's body, and that's why they blush when they drink, or something along those lines. That he has a reaction. Maybe he slimes, or his eyeballs get all wibbly wobbly. These sorceress manifestations occur when drinking. Maddie got into drinking and then starts drinking his own drink. It's difficult. This is good stuff. Cheap generic soda is a weakness of mine. Look, I'm a flawed creature. I'm not exempting myself. Hey, Tamarick, welcome. Maybe he's allergic. Yeah, I mean, do any of you, do you have a gluten allergy, or do you know someone who has one and they still eat bread? or they're lactose intolerant, but they can't turn down that ice cream. You know, damn the consequences, or the people riding in the car with them on the way home. Sometimes that ice cream or that bread is just too good. It does not say he even has to drink. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be much. Could just be, boop, one shot. Ah, so lactose for some, yeah. Yeah, like we all have different allergies or adaptations. There's some people that when they eat asparagus, it doesn't revisit them the next time they go to the bathroom, if you know what I'm talking about. Just genetically, they either have or don't have another enzyme that processes the asparagus scent that accompanies it when we eat it. Oh, there's 8 or 9 different ones, Jedi. In fact, most of them are in the player's handbook because they're the schools of magic. You have the 8 schools of magic, and then war wizards. Allergic to Choco, and you're eating a bag. So, yep, we have our vices, everyone, and so does this person. All right, so we have an ideal. And a blade singer. That's true. And while it's elf only, I mean, come on. Yeah, that's true. So there is, I guess there's 9 schools, and blade singers are wizards also. All right, Jedi. So if one of you can help Jedi, because I want to make sure that we're focusing on the sorcerer we're building. You keep asking questions, Jedi, and I'll happily throw out some prompts and things for you to look at. But if someone can help answer, in fact, D&D Beyond. In fact, there's a command for it here. Whoop. Yep, there we go. Absolutely, O'Sheeps. Thank you for helping out there. That's you know what? I would suppose that there are people who've tried that experiment. All right, so we now know more about our character. So we have this pirate, or a privateer, or someone along those lines who has this reputation. As we were talking about, you know, good could be in the eye of the beholder in a sense. We have someone. To me, a tavern brawl is a nice way to get to know a new city, and Chameleon brought up a good point where it doesn't mean he has to always fight. Maybe he just watches. In fact, maybe he kind of like sees if one can start and could judge a city just simply by sitting back in that regard. You know, he stretches the truth for the sake of a good story. We have someone who's neutral good. And while I don't like a character's behavior hinging on an alignment like that's the absolute guiding star, you know, that everything you do has to go back to those 2 letters. We have someone who tends to be selfless more than selfish, tends to want to benefit society in some way. Not that he doesn't have his selfish moments either. And so we have someone, a storyteller, maybe a happy drunk, and someone who is working hard so that one day he can have his own ship because he respects the ship. Pirate, corsair, again, a privateer. There's a lot of different shades of sailor that we could take in this regard. And of course, you know, who's calling who a pirate? Now, I think the implication with pirate is that, we grew up with. So in here it says you spent your life under the sway of a dread pirate, a ruthless cutthroat, and maybe we did. Maybe as we were growing up, we learned the trade, and we cut a few throats in our youth. Now, that being said, we maybe don't cut as many throats as we used to, but we still have those life lessons. So I would say though, with a bad reputation, and to come over to you, back to you, Chameleon. Um, a bad reputation, right? Your character has a sailor background. You may select this background feature instead of ship's passage. No matter where you go, people are afraid of you due to your reputation. When you are in a civilized settlement, you can get away with minor criminal offenses, such as refusing to pay for food at a tavern or breaking down doors at a local shop, since most people will not report your activity to the authorities. Yeah, exactly, Tamrick. Yep. Our bad reputation may very well come from the fact that people know us because of our stories, because of the fact that we can make ourselves look like we melt, because of all the weird stuff that we do. You know, people might look at us as sort of like oh, what's the term that was used in Vampire Bloodlines? A bad luck farmer. Where the places we sail to, you know what? It always seems like a fight breaks out anywhere our sailor goes. You know, epic stories are told, and you know, so people also have a good time. But odd stuff always seems to follow this odd elf that you know, can make himself float and look waxy or have thick skin, and you know, someone who says that, you know, is an element of the sea itself. And so the bad reputation could very well just be superstition as a manifestation of the fact that we've been around for hundreds of years. Pirates and sailors and everyone already being a superstitious lot. And of course, our sorceress heritage here. Our aberrant mind. Also about the alignment, good. Other people's will being more important than my own. There's ways that we can interpret that in Cyclo. Calling other sailors captains, Danubian slime devils doesn't tend to make friends. A blade singer is a sword swinging wizard, Jedi. And so I very much would think, I think a bad reputation can very much fit this character. That being said, and even if you think that's a very good background feature application, we have someone who is obsessed with a ship. Someone who studies ships, who admires ships, and wants to own a ship of his own. And I really think that this character could go either way with the background feature. With being able to, you see, when you need to, you can secure free passage on a sailing ship for yourself and your adventuring companions. You might sail on the ship you served on or another ship you have good relations with. And of course, if we can name everyone in the fleet, kind of a thing. So I'd like to open that up to you all. We can have a solid character either way. I guess it would depend on where you want to put more weight. On this person as a sailor with aspirations and knows all the ships of the line and has been around a while and knows the ships that way, or someone who is this kind of drippy, very moist sorcerer that it's somewhere along the lines got his brain stirred by a tentacle and has evolved these psionic powers of the deep. Tamrick wants to go with the bad reputation from the squiggly. If your guy's a pirate, you could fill the crew with one of my characters. Oh, Custos, rip. All right, well, not. I think rather than slime, this would be cooler if they were. Yeah, we could make them fish scaled, absolutely. All right, so it seems like the background feature that we're going with is bad reputation. with the note that it's probably more along the lines of superstitious, and you know, this is a known person who's been sailing the seas for some time. Jedi, I don't know offhand. I think Brawler sounds like it'd be Fighter, but I don't know. I don't know right now. An uneasy reputation. Yes. A superstitious reputation would be a good way for that. And so, at this point, this is where I argue we actually have a character. Sure, we don't have ability scores, so what? We already can imagine the character. The character has come alive before us with the information we already have. Everything else from here is just a little, you know, a little polish. Now let's go to the player's handbook and find out he would look like that exactly in Cyclochameleon. Which is why if you have a Simic hybrid character for the race, then that you'd be extra squiggly. Oh yeah, we could we could do the trinket, absolutely. Let's we'll pop to chapter 5 real quick. Good call. Doifam? Did I pronounce that correctly? And if not, let me know how to pronounce it, and I will do my best to do so. What is this? Speaking of superstition, what is this person's good luck charm? Here we go, percentile roll. We rolled a 98. And so the person's good luck charm, we're going to put it down here, number 98, is a glass jar containing lard with a label that reads Griffin Grease. Wouldn't that be something if it was a jar of dirt? A glass jar containing lard with a label that reads Griffin Grease. So a little bit, hey Carl, a little bit of Griffin Grease will do. Oh, are you having trouble, you know, trying to fix the ship? A little bit of Griffin Grease here, and smears it on. Oh, looks like we're gonna get boarded soon. I'm gonna put a little Griffin Grease on my sword or whatever. I said it correctly. Ah, excellent. I'm glad that I was able to then. Yeah, and of course, you could always change it to be a jar of dirt if you wanted. Though in this case, you know, I'm not against it. I think we all get the Pirates reference, but maybe we could have some fun with the Griffin Grease as well. I've got a jar of lard. That's... Ah, yeah, so they use that as the excuse as to why the slime comes out. Look, I always keep a jar of lard around. It's tasty. I cook with it. And sometimes it just kind of... You know, it spills. Jedi, I hate to ask the website didn't help subclasses for Barbarian. In the player's handbook, there's the Berserker and the Totem Barbarian. And there's a couple others that exist in other books as well. But they're not coming to me offhand, Jedi. I think one is Path of the Ancients. And a Zealot? A Zealot? You're kind of you go into a religious fervor, Barbarian. All right, so that is, and this is why the trinket could be a lot of fun too. You know, maybe for some reason, as long as we never use more than a dollop, the Griffin Grease might replenish itself. Or the Griffin Grease is something that we know the secret recipe to, and we call it Griffin Grease, but, you know, to let people in on the secret would you know, be horrible. Or, what if the jar of Griffin Grease is actually the source of his powers? Think about that. You know, instead of having, you know, instead of getting a wet willy of the damned by a tentacle from a kraken or an aboleth, what if he found this griffin grease, and when he started eating it and using it, because it was very useful in many regards, what if the griffin grease is actually kind of a sentient slime, or a magically imbued slime, or something that came down on a meteor, or who knows? And so he carries it around, it replenishes itself, and that's actually the source of his powers, is the griffin grease. Yeah, Berserker Barbarian's excellent damage output. Very tough character, Jedi. Oh, the jar of dirt was all improv. I did not know that, Custos Lupus. Yeah, from the Far Realm. You know, we already have that as a prompt. Why not? And it syncs up so well with having a trinket. I mean, if we wanted to be extra creepy, we could go to the Curse of Strahd trinkets, as they have gothic trinkets, which are a lot, you know, more creepy, like finger bones and, you know, a doll's eye that laughs or something like that. But I think we have something very excellent, and you know what? This fits very well, perhaps a little too well with the character. Alright, now we're going to go to races, and we're going to go to Elf. All elves get the following. Dexterity score increases by 2. We have our age and alignment, we have our size, our speed is 30 feet. So I'm gonna embiggen this a little bit more, as Bright in our Tuesday game says. We do have dark vision. We have dark vision out to 60 feet. We have proficiency in the perception skill. Now, this is a good point to bring up, where we have overlapping skill proficiencies. We receive perception from being a sailor. We also receive perception from being an elf. Your DM, you know, you bring this up to her or him, might say, give yourself expertise, so you get twice proficiency, because that's just how it lined up. Or your DM might say, well, you know, you keep the proficiency in perception, but I'll let you put it in whatever you want. Or you're good at telling stories also. Let's move that redundant perception down to performance. Or your DM might say, sucks to be you. I'm, you know, it's, if it was overlapping, then it was meant that it was too good for anything else. I don't know. You might have a DM like that. Talk to that person, negotiate. I think what would work in this case, where we have an overlapping, would exactly be that performance, right? Because we do have someone. Well, either performance or history. Although I think we'll get history from being a sorcerer, but still, you know, it's something we could think about, because, you know, we know that the ships and such, although I know we went with the bad reputation. That could end up being Arcana then, who knows. Anyway, I'm happy with performance right now. We're good at telling stories, we're good at putting on a show with our scales, or our slime, or our cephalopod shells, or whatever. You know, our tendril eye stalk, our flump eyeballs, or whatever. And if we want to move it, we'll move it. The character's not finished yet. So what, right? Fey Ancestry. So we have advantage on saving throws against being charmed. And magical magic can't put us to sleep. As well, we can also trance. And once per day, so once per 24 hours, we get the effects of an 8-hour rest. Languages, we speak Common and Elven. Go figure. And now for our sub-race. We are not a High Elf, nor are we a Drow. Instead, we get Wood Elf training. Our Wisdom score is going to go up by 1. We're going to have Elf weapon training. You have proficiency with the longsword, short bow, and longbow. So weapons, we're going to put Sorcerer, because it's a specific list. Sorcerer weapons, short and long sword/bow. Fleet of foot. Hey, our walking speed is actually a little bit quicker. Dun, 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 dun. That'll increase our climb and our swim. And Mask of the Wild. You can attempt to hide even when you're only lightly obscured by foliage, heavy rain, falling snow, mist, or other natural phenomena. And if you're making a character like this and you say, well, look, my character's been sailing all this time, you know, water and fog and stuff exist. What if I'm hiding in rope, or I'm hiding... Could I count a mast as a tree trunk and use that for my Mask of the Wild? It's not a living tree, but I've had practice, and it is reflective. And you know what? Your DM might say, yeah, that's a cool idea. I'm perfectly fine with that. You know, you're already this middle-aged character. You've been doing this for a while. I'm happy with that. Your DM might also say, no, let's keep it to what is literally said in the book. And that's how you roll. But have those conversations. Be imaginative. You know, it's not exploitative unless you're trying to exploit your DM, which is more of a shame on you. Thank you. To all of you who are still helping Jedi kind of learn the ropes, thank you very much. And Jedi, I hope that you're finding good answers to your questions here, because I do want them answered, and I do want you to ask questions and to feel involved and engaged. And O'Sheeps gave one recommendation. There's 3 main ways that people generate stats. They roll for it, they use a point buy system, or they use the standard array, which you're going to see used here in just a little bit. Different DMs are going to have different methods for determining your starting stats. Alright, so now we know, who we are as a pirate and as a wood elf. Now we're going to go to classes, and we are going to give our character what he gets for being a sorcerer, as in all sorcerers get this. And then we're going to save the subclass applique for last. As we're generating an 18th level character to get the 18th level subclass capstone, we are going to know 6 different cantrips. Excellent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 cantrips. And we're going to have 15 spells known. We're going to get to spells later. Spells are important, but they're not important for the character right now. And if we scroll this over just a little bit here, we'll see that we are going to have some spell slots to fill up. 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, and then 1s down the line for everything else. So yes, we can cast that fabled 9th level magic once per day. Well, technically more, because we have sorcery points that we can juggle around for more. Alright. What else? We are a sorcerer. We have a d6 hit die. And that represents our natural ability to, recuperate between attacks or events that happen. During a rest, you can spend your own hit die to recover your hit points without needing to drink potions or have magical curative spells cast on you. We're 18th level, so hey, lo and behold, we get 18 d6 hit die for this character. We get no armor proficiencies, and of course here is the sorcerer weapon list, so I just summarized it by saying sorcerer weapons. Our saving throws are going to be Constitution and Charisma, and we get to choose 2 skills to be proficient in from Arcana, Deception, Insight, Intimidation, Persuasion, and Religion. So we come over here, and I was making the argument for history, which it could work. I like performance. I would wager to say, though, as we are someone here, we want to own our own ship, we tell great stories, we can stretch the truth. And also, I think we use our weird complexion to our advantage as well, which could be a part of storytelling. I would say intimidation and persuasion would be in line with this character based on his personality. And that's how we choose the skills for all the characters we generate here. Who is the character individually? And you know what? The other characters we develop for the party might all also have perception. You know, and sometimes we get together and say, well, you know, 2 other people have perception. I guess I shouldn't take it. Well, is your character perceptive? If so, then have he or she have perception also. But maybe I'm weird like that. Anyway, let's go for persuasion and intimidation. Hypnotic Gamer, you're going to take off, head to sleep? No. Feel better, get some rest, and I hope your body nukes all the germs that are making you feel bad, Hypnotic, and that you wake up in the morning and you feel like $1,000,000. Thank you for hanging out as long as you did, especially because you're under the weather. Now, our starting equipment, well, look, we're making level 18 characters. Sure, there's a crossbow. That's not going to be as important as perhaps the spells or the other features of this character. So I'm not really going to worry about this, with an exception, because we can use an arcane focus. An arcane focus doesn't always have to be, you know, a wand or a crystal ball made of the purest quartz or whatever. Our jar of lard could very much be our spellcasting component, especially if we do want to link the lard is actually the source of our powers. And of course, what better way to create a kind of an intimidating person than this elven pirate who opens up this jar while staring at you, takes 2 fingers and gets a big dollop of lard, and still while staring at you? That's the stuff. If you want to spin a tragic tale like that, you're like, there used to be 10 of us on the island, and by the time we were picked up, there was only 1 that was outside the jar. Yeah, there can be only 1. Yeah, it's like that. It's like that Jet Li movie. I think it was just called The One. Yeah, Custos. Who knows? Who knows what the griffin grease is used for? So spell casting. Well, hey, we're a sorcerer. We're gonna get spells, and we're gonna revisit that later. Let's keep going here. We do get Font of Magic, which is going to give us sorcery points. So I'm going to go down here. Sorc points. And we have sorcery points. Dun, da, 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 da. Look at this. At level 18, it so happens we have 18 sorcery points. And isn't that convenient? By the way, our proficiency bonus is also +6. Forgot to throw that in there. Anywho. So we have sorcery points, and with Font of Magic, you know, we have flexible casting. We can modify spell slots and all this other stuff. It's wonderful. It's also in the player's handbook, and I'm not going to spend time on the basics here with that when we want to delve into the other content. So we do get flexible casting, and we're also going to get some meta magic. Yeah. In fact, by this level, I believe we're going to know 4 meta magic abilities. Meta magic used to be feats in 3rd edition. So let's see. Yeah, you get 2, then 1 at 10 and 1 at 17. So we're going to have 4 different ways we can manipulate our magic. And much like our skills, we're going to base it on his personality. I'm not going to choose those just yet. Actually, maybe I should? Yeah, because we don't get... we don't get something else until level 20. So never mind, we're finished with being a sorcerer. Because that's you regain 4 expended sorcery points whenever you finish a short rest. That way, we're always be casting ABCs. Always be casting. It's a meta pirate? In what sense, Tamrick? How do you roll for age? If you want to roll for age, then, you know, what's the span of what's the lifespan of the race that you chose? And then, or if you just want to choose an age, you can just choose an age if you want, Jedi. I mean, elves in some settings, elves can live for 1,000 years. In my personal setting, my not my online one that I run on Tuesdays, my personal one, elves are just starting to live a little over 100 years. In fact, they used to only live till about 35, 40. But something happened, and they're getting their longevity back very slowly. Yeah, I agree. Encyclo, yeah, subtle spell would be a great one for him. Oh, gotcha. All right, Tamrick, I gotcha. So subtle spell works, and let's take a look here. Once I start drinking, it's hard for me to stop. The ship's important. Aspirations. Someday I'll own my own ship and chart my own destiny. And to me, a tavern brawl is a nice way to get to know a new city. I stretch to the truth for the sake of a good story. I think that careful spell would work. Right? We have someone who is a bit of a charmer. And I think if he wants to favor people, especially when it comes to storytelling, he could choose to exclude some people from the effects of the spell if he wished to do so. Now, as we're also a sailor and we want to make sure we're taking care of business aboard a ship, which could be, you know, repelling borders and whatnot, I believe that distance spell would be a good one for him as well. And especially because we have a very social sorcerer, despite his looks or his manifestations, or maybe even because of that, heightened spell to force a loss, well, not a loss, to force a disadvantage on a save. Oh snap, Neo Realms! Hey, thanks for stopping by. Of course, I say that and you all might be lost in ad purgatory, so I'll wait till someone says something. Honestly, subtle spell and heightened spell would have been the first ones, then careful, then distant. Empowered spell, since they stretch the truth. Yeah, we can do that. That's a good reflection of his own storytelling. If you want, Jedi, there are some racial suggestions, but different campaigns might have, you know, elves are super tall. Elves are actually the giant race, so to speak. They're all 7 feet tall minimum. Or some people might say elves are just, you know, if you're scratching 5 foot, you know, they're a hair, you know, or the tip of their ears is what makes them taller than a dwarf, kind of a thing. Neo Realms, there you are. Hey, thank you so much for that raid. Everyone, welcome, welcome. Yeah, thanks for hanging out and offering your suggestions, Tamrick. You're always welcome here and appreciated. It's fine, old port. So we're wrapping up this first Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. We'll take a break and come back and start from the beginning with a new one. So we have our background, we have our race, we have our class, and now it is time to delve into the subclass. So we have invasive thoughts. As a bonus action, we can communicate telepathically with a creature, which, at least according to my logic and reading, could be an animal, though the animal can't communicate back, though it still means you could talk to it. Doesn't have to listen to you, but at least it'll understand telepathically. So we have invasive thoughts, and we're also going to get psionic spells, which is going to act like domain spells, oath spells, land spells. Let's see, we had 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1. Cantrips, 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 5, and 6. Spellcasting as a sorcerer off of charisma, and we have Sorc points equal to 18 because that's our level. There we go. So we're getting these spells that don't count against the number of sorcery spells that we already know. So here we're gonna just put psionics, and we are gonna get 2 at all of the, I don't know if you want to call them like normal magic levels, because for most normal people that exist in the world, level 5, like that's it. You're hardly ever gonna find anyone who can cast higher. But of course, you know, you're an adventurer, you're a big damn hero, so you can break that cap. So from psionics, I'm gonna scoot this over a little bit. We are going to receive the Arms of Hadar and Dissonant Whispers. And of course, we can modify these with our metamagic. Calm Emotions and Detect Thoughts. We are also going to receive the Hunger of Hadar and Sending. After that, we will get Compulsion and Everard's Black Tentacles. Then at 5th level, we're going to receive Modify Memory and Rary's Telepathic Bond, which I love calling the Psychic Friends Network. Rary's Telepathic Bond. Excellent. So, as a bonus action, we can communicate telepathically. We're going to get our psionic spells. We also, at 1st level, are a warped being, right? Your aberrant origin protects you from harm, and so we manifest some kind of a reflection of how we got these weird powers. Through fish scales or, like, thick, like, whale skin or blubber, or something along those lines. So, Warp Being, our AC is 13 plus Dex, if we're not wearing armor. We are also going to get some Psionic Sorcery. Beginning at 6th level, when you cast any of the spells gained from your Psionic Spells feature, you can cast it by expending a spell slot as normal, or by spending a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level. If you cast the spell using sorcery points, it requires no components. So we're going to put that right down. Chia. Psionic Sorcery. We also get Psychic Defenses. At 6th level, you gain resistance to psychic damage, and you have advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. Well, again, we have a doubled up with being charmed as an elf, and you could talk to your DM, say, well, do I get advantage then? Because I get double protection? Or how would this manifest? But we're going to add Frightened. And up here, under Immunities, Resistances, and... Oh, you can't see it. Hang on. Let's scoot this in. Under Immunities, Resistances, and Vulnerabilities, I poked the center dot for Resistant against Psychic damage up here. Whatever... Jedi, this is your character. You don't need to conform to... I mean, you might have a DM that says, so... You might have a DM say, whatever. You can have green skin as a human. It's just these people live in this area and it gives them green skin. It's up to you. This is your character. This is a game of... I want you to understand, Jedi, that D&D is a game of storytelling and imagination. First and foremost. And so you know, this is your character that you're playing. You should be excited about him or her, you know, and this is your investment that you can imagine your character appearing as such. And in all the stuff where I say refer to a DM, of course you need a DM, you know, who would be running for you to go over some of the details. But ultimately, you don't think about all the little micro steps on, well, what should I do? What should I do? What should my skin color of my character be? This is your character. And absolutely have fun with it. Hey, it's Blue's Clues saying grazie. Grazie for what, Blue? Next up, we have Revelation in Flesh. Beginning at 14th level, you can unleash the aberrant truth hidden within your flesh. As a bonus action, you can spend 1 or more sorcery points to magically transform your body for 1 minute. For each sorcery point you spend, you can gain one of the following benefits of your choice, the effects of which last until the transformation ends: swimming speed, flying speed. You can slip underneath doors because you become gelatinous, or your eyeballs become something. Your eyeballs sort of turn into Alex Mack and wiggle around. Actually, I guess turning into Alex Mack is this one where you can slide under doors. You know, but your eyes sort of like either milk over, cloud over, or whatever, turn inky black, or they turn into little like crab sensing eyeballs on strands, and you can see hidden or invisible creatures within 60 feet of you. Names, you can find name generators if you'd like, or just again make something up, Jedi. And a good way is just look around you. Um, so call your character Alok Alok Darov. ALOC first name. Family name is from the very venerable clan of Darovs, DEROV. And if you're like, oh, that seems like a cool fantasy name, Alok, ALOC, Darov, DEROV. Your character's name is Alok Darov. Or maybe your character's name is, if it'll focus, is Turali. And you could put an apostrophe or a hyphen if you want to. But I don't know, Turali sounds kind of like a cool name for an elf. Turali Ifikal. First name Turali, last name Ifikal. Exactly. Oh, you want to come up and say hi? No? You want to come up this? Sure. You want to come up this way? Show people your lovely face? No, don't rub on power cords. Come on. Here. Oh, come here, bud. Oh, I love you. So here we go. Or if you really want, your character's name is Tack. Specifically, Tack Yabat. Takyabat. Does that sound like an elven name? It sounds like an elven name to me. Alright, so Revelation in the Flesh, we can gain some interesting motility by spending a sorcery point. And then, and also some observability. Then lastly, we can warp reality. This is our capstone as an Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. Warp reality. Oh, Tak is more of an orcish name? You know what? Now that you mention that, you're absolutely correct. So at 18th level, you become the focal point of a reality warping anomaly. As an action, you can magically radiate a transparent 20-foot radius aura for 1 minute. This might take the form of a sphere of rippling psychic energy, a fluctuating amoebic gel, an extrusion of ephemeral parasites, or some other manifestation. Other creatures treat the aura as difficult terrain, and when they start their turn in it, they take 2d10 psychic damage. When you activate this feature, you can choose any number of creatures you can see to be unaffected by the aura. Thank you for moving the camera, bud. Alright, there we go. As a bonus action, you can end the aura early. If you do so, you and any number of creatures you choose within the aura are teleported to a location you can see within 1 mile of you. Each creature must appear within 20 feet of you and in an unoccupied space. An unwilling creature that succeeds on a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC is not teleported. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Oh, I'll work on it tomorrow. I'm gonna go to bed. So you came up with a name. Nindral Ureferen. That's a perfectly good Elvish name, Jedi. Alright, but you're gonna go to bed. Hey, Jedi, thank you so much for joining us. I hope we were able to answer your questions. And that you have a solid start. If you joined us on Discord, we have an RPG workshop also, where you can ask questions and get mentorship there. Yes, the black hole, says Encyclochameleon. Alright, so the last thing that we do now is to drop the engine into the chassis that we've built. And we use the standard array for this. Now, we do have a very charismatic person who's a storyteller, an observer, someone who, even wants to be a captain of his own ship. I have no qualms putting the 15 in charisma. I mean, yes, mechanically for not for warlocks, for sorcerers, you cast off of that, which is fine too. But it's also being backed up by his hopes and dreams and other things than just saying, well, I gotta put a 15 there because he casts off of it. Otherwise, I don't feel it's fair. So we've also had someone who's been around a little bit here. And so I think with our 14, he's been on the seas. He's what if we put the 14 in strength? The 13... Actually, you know what? He doesn't get bonus hit points. He kind of has that natural armor. But what if he's just not scared of taking hits? Oh, you're on your phone and you... Yeah, yep. What if we put the 14 here? 13 strength, 12 dex, 10 wisdom, 8 intelligence. So he's kind of, this would be someone who's, he spent his life just learning a lot about things. So he's not super specialized in one regard. Now, we still get to add our feats to this character, too. And, of course, if you have other suggestions, you're welcome to offer them here. All right, now, if we do this, we are going to get, remember, we rolled all four of our All 4 of our ASIs are going to be feats. So we're going to add that here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Did you roll for damage, asks Tustos? Oh, jeez. And now for this, everyone, open up your pahubbas to Chapter 6. As we're going to add 4 feats to him. I think Inspiring Leader would be a very good one for him. Hashtag just saying. Especially because they can see and hear and who can understand you. That psychic connection can help bolster that too. It does, but Baloo, I think you already have a shipment that's good to go out. So it'd just be $5 for a grab bag because you already have shipping paid for. So we're going to add this here. Inspiring Leader. What else? As a storyteller, Actor could work as well. Actor could be good. To get into the voices and to try and pretend, especially if, you know, if you're getting into that. Advantage on deception and performance, and we can also mimic the speech of another person or sounds made by creatures. That would also boost up our charisma to a 16. What else? What else is this person? We're a drinker. We're a storyteller. We're an observer. Maybe that would be. Increase your inner whiz by 1 to a maximum of 20. Getting an extra wisdom bump wouldn't be bad. You can see a creature's mouth while it's speaking a language you understand. You can interpret what it's saying. Your DM may say, because you can use telepathy, that could actually work in all instances. Kind of like how Tongue of Sun and Moon on monks would allow for that. But we are a very perceptive character as well. We're an observer. We're a people watcher, as Chameleon was talking about. Like, we love ballroom blitzes. No, we love tavern brawls or barroom fights. So I think observant would be good. And if not observant, I could make the argument that resilient in wisdom would work as well, because we have a strong mind from our conditioning and our new aspect. That would also give us a wisdom bump as well. Though we're getting some extra goodies here. And this is making us we can understand what a lot of different people are saying in this regard. Oh, it is barroom, not ballroom. Okay, gotcha. Thought a bunch of people were running in and disrupting a waltz. What else then? What is our fourth one? We have a sailor wants to own his own ship, but you are Inspiring Leader. Is an actor, can put on great performances. Warcaster might be a good one if he does intend on getting into a bunch of scrapes. Tavern Brawler, though, might be a good one. You're proficient with improvised weapons. Your unarmed strikes use a D4. Now, oh, Tavern Brawler was modified by some recent, not Unearthed Arcana, but some recent errata. Although, I think Tavern Brawler might work really well. It's interrupting a tango, that's the height of bad form. Tavern Brawler. May not be the best at it, has seen plenty to be dangerous. And that would actually boost our strength up a little bit here. And give us an unarmed strike, which is a D4. Same with our club. And then, of course, we can grapple and such with that, too. Alright, so that's going to give us a 2 strength, 2 dex, 2 con, -1 int, 1 wisdom, 3 charisma. Adding things down here, 2 saving throw, 8 athletics because we're proficient. Dex is just going to be 2 down the line. Con is going to be 8 on a save. Int, we're just going to discreetly Control-C and Control-V this down. Wisdom is 1 down the line except Perception, which is going to be a 7. And then Charisma is going to be 9s everywhere except Deception, which is still a pretty good 3. Now our armor class is 13 plus our dex, which is 15 because we have that natural or rather unnatural flesh. Our passive perception is 10 plus our perception modifier, which is, oh, you know what? It's actually going to be higher than 17 because observant gives us an extra 5. Our passive perception is actually 22. We see a lot of things that are going on around us. Now, how we decide to act on that, or if we use our subtle spell metamagic to kind of, influence things.
Let's make it happen, Captain.
Very well, Blue's Clues. I will pull that that capsule shortly. We're almost finished with this character. Our hit points. You get your hit die and hit points at first level, so 6. Our remaining 17 levels of our 18 are going to be half plus 1 of our hit die, so that's going to be 4. Then all of our levels, so all 18 of them, is going to equal, or we're going to get bonus hit points equal to our Constitution modifier. So this is going to be 36. This is going to be 68. And so this is going to be 74. So then that's going to go to 8. So we have 110 hit points at level 18. Our initiative is a +2 because your initiative is a dexterity check, and this is our modifier for it. If we're attacking with strength-based weapons like our club or unarmed strike, we're going to be attacking at a +8. And you know what? If we ever do fire a crossbow or a bow and arrow, you know, if we put, I don't know, light crossbow, it's also going to be a +8 because it's the same, see, the same modifier. And that's 1d8 + 2, and that is piercing damage instead of bludgeoning and bludgeoning. If we're attacking with our spells are charisma based, so we actually have a +9 to attack with them. And to resist the effects of our spells, you simply add 8. 8 is the standard floating number to resist whatever. You know, it's whatever the attack is, and then you add 8 onto it. This was a 17 and a +9. You know what? For that 19th level, we probably bump this up to an 18 and have a good, respectable +4. So if you're building this character at home and you're really itching to add that last stat bump at level 19, yeah, it's probably where it'd end up. Now we're going to go back real quick to Sorcerer. And we're going to, I'm not going to put down the spells that he has right now. We could work that out a little bit later. But as you can see, we know spells, like we know more spells as we level up. Oh snap, Tank Girl's here. Hey, hey. Morning after hilarity. Oh. What? This is the morning after. What is the hilarity? Can you give us some context? Get us in on the joke, please. But hello, yes. Welcome Raiders, everyone. Here, I'm going to spam some emotes. to you all in appreciation. We took R63 cookies. I don't know what that is. Oh, can you explain that? Oh, okay. Some of my players in a mod I'm running at the store have encountered something along those lines too. The dwarf was just like, nothing really changed. Gotcha, gotcha. The Philly Scouts of Fallout Equestria make tons of drugs and invent new ones and put them into cookies. And not pies? Or is pies getting you back into that dangerous, that dangerously close to copyright that y'all were fighting against? So spells known at level 1. Hey, look at that. We know 2 spells. Yay. Actually, we know 4 because of the special Sorcerer subclass. And then at level 2, dun, 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 we get another one. You see how spells known go from 2 to 3? And wouldn't you know it, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. However, you see at level 12, we still know only 12. Because now we're only getting 1 spell on the odd levels. So that's going to be 13, 15, 13, 15, and then 17. Did I miss one somewhere? That should be 1, 2, 3. And by the way, when you level up, I don't always explain this, but when you level up, you can actually swap your spells out. So if something's not working, or for example, you hit level 7 and you don't want a 3rd level spell, throw it in a level 1 spell. You can always cast up. 8, 9, 10. And then to 11, yeah, we get that. 11, 13. Oh yeah, no, that works out. 11, 13, 15, and 17. So while you're kind of stuck with most of the spells that you take, you can always swap things out. Excellent. We have made our character. I mean, we got to choose the spells, and we can do so because the spells that he takes are definitely going to tell his story through life. However, we have the bulk of everything else in here, and we have done an awesome job with exploring a character who has the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer subtype. And now we can ask questions about his history. What led to that discovery? Is it the Griffin Grease, the jar of Griffin Grease? Is it as a young pirate growing up, they raided a ship, maybe it was even a haunted ship or something, and this character made contact with an entity that was held in its hull that Chameleon was talking about? Hey, Old Port Media. So we'll see.